Welcome, guys and gals and everybody in between. I am Stephanie Sigler. So we are going to talk today about the growth mindset and creating clarity and cultivating courage. So we all go through life transitions, and unfortunately, none of them are easy. We're going to really talk about some of your life purposes today, maybe some internal roadblocks that are preventing you from growth. We're going to talk a lot about that growth mindset and what you can do in order to facilitate that a little bit more and take that on as growth and not be scared of it. I know that transitions are scary sometimes, a lot of the times, and I don't want you to be scared of them. So let's just start. Who am I? Well, I'm a licensed professional counselor. I'm a certified sex therapist, and I'm a doctoral candidate for clinical sexology. I have my PhD ABD, which means I have all of the classwork done. I am just currently working on my dissertation, which is due October 1st, and hopefully I will be the graduated. Goodness, I couldn't think of what it was called. That's how messed up my brain is sometimes. In December. I am also a skydiver. I skydive frequently with my husband. We have been all over the world skydiving, and it's one of my favorite things to do. We are in an open relationship, so I speak not only clinically, but also personally. We are kinky. I am a mom. I have 2 kids. 15, she turned 16 next week, and I'm holding on to that 15 as long as possible. And a 21-year-old who just joined the military. I am a sexual assault survivor. I was molested all my childhood, and I overcome a lot of that. Still there's still some things that happen today, reoccurrences that trigger me, but I'm for the most part overcoming that. And I'm also a domestic violence survivor. So definitely been around the block a few times. And in this picture with my husband right here, I'm very tan because we are in Jamaica at Hedonism 2 in this picture. And that's as tan as I get. So you see how tan he is, and you see how tan I am. That's as tan as it gets. So I'm pretty excited that I had a tan there. As you can tell, I don't now. So I would like for you all to get out a piece of paper or something to write with, and we're going to write some things. Actually, I'm going to escape out of here for 1 second and see if I can figure out a way to see all of you. If there is a way. I guess it's just sharing the screen. Oh. Okay, maybe that works now. Yeah, yay, I can see y'all now. Awesome. Okay, so one of the activities, if you could get a piece of paper out, and I want you to write down one thing you have always been really good at. One, it just can be a sentence. It can be, okay, good. We can see it now. Perfect. It can be just about anything that you feel like you are really, really good at. And then, I got to do this one. I want you to think, I want to write down, one thing that you think you'll never be good at. Just kind of like that self-deprecation, something you'll never be good at in your mind. And then lastly, one thing you weren't good at in the beginning, but you've become good at over time. So you should have 3 things written down on your paper. All right. So have those written down. Awesome. Let's talk about a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. Now we're going to keep that in front of you, and we are going to use that just a little bit as an activity that's going to keep kind of ongoing. Your mindset is a mental attitude that really determines how you are going to interpret and respond to situations. It's how you see things. So a fixed mindset, people believe that you are born intelligent and talented at birth, and there's no room to grow, right? But a growth mindset is where you imagine that talent and intelligence can go up or down. I am very intelligent in psychology and mental health, but when it comes to math, I don't math well. Does that mean I'm dumb? Absolutely not. That means that math is not my strong suit, but I'm very talented and very intelligent in mental health counseling. So I tend to subscribe to the growth mindset, which I hope everybody does too. So let's talk about what kind of mindset do you have? Okay, a growth mindset says I can learn anything I want to. When I'm frustrated, I persevere, right? I want to challenge myself. Tell me, I try hard. When I fail, I learn. If you succeed, I'm inspired. My effort and attitude determines everything, right? But the fixed mindset is I'm neither good at nor will I ever be. When I'm frustrated, I give up. I don't like to be challenged. When I fail, I feel like I'm no good. Tell me I'm smart. If you succeed, I feel threatened. So that is, the fixed mindset. My abilities determine everything. So I want you to write down, and a lot of us have a little bit of both at times. We overall may have a general growth mindset, but then there's those times that we have a fixed mindset on something. So I want you to write down an area in your life where you feel like you have a fixed mindset, something that you feel you're just maybe not good at. When you're frustrated, you give up. It could be any one of those things that is listed on the screen. And we're going to kind of work through that today. So if you have I don't like to be challenged, or when I fail, I'm no good style mindset, write that down. If you feel threatened by people who succeed instead of inspired, that's something that we can work through. So write that down as well. All right, let's take a mindset quiz. Let's really explore where you're at. Okay. So you're going to put a Y for yes and an N for no, or an A for agree, an N for no, not agreeing. My intelligence is something very basic about me that I can't really change. If you agree with that statement, put an A. If you don't agree with that statement, put an N. When I don't understand something, I like to slow down and try to figure it out. I am intimidated by academic challenges. That can also be employment challenges. I've been told by others that I am smart. Learning is fun. I often feel unmotivated to learn. When I don't do well in a subject or in a job, I think that I must not be very good at that particular subject or job. When I perform poorly academically or professionally, I do not get discouraged. When I don't understand something, I get very frustrated and want to give up. And lastly, I shouldn't have to work as hard in subjects that I'm naturally good at. So remember, we're going to put an A or an N. I'm going to give you about 30 more seconds to just kind of read over that and answer those questions. Okay, let's see how we did. So give yourself 4 points for every agree or every A that you put. And that's for these questions. 4 points for 1, 3, 4, 6, 7, 9, and 10. And then if you put agree for 2, 5, or 8, I want you to subtract 2 points. I know, math. I told you I don't math well. So if you scored less than 5, you have a growth mindset. If you score between 5 and 10, you have a growth mindset with some fixed ideas. 11 to 15, you have mostly a fixed mindset. And anything above 15, you have a solid mindset. So if you are comfortable sharing in the chat, tell us maybe if you're a fixed mindset or if you're a growth mindset. And don't be ashamed if you're a fixed mindset, because we're going to learn how to be a growth mindset. All right. So one thing I want to assure you of is our brains are malleable. They are able to change. It's like plastic. The plasticity of our brains allow us to adapt and change. The brain is like a muscle, and it gets stronger and it works better the more it's exercised. For example, I love this one. So older individuals who practice the crossword puzzles, they are using their brain in a way that's different than everyday use, and they're using it in a way to keep it malleable. They're keeping the plasticity going. They're asking the questions. If they do Sudoku, all of those things, those little word puzzles, all word games, all of those things are ways for you to keep your brain malleable and the plasticity able to be molded. Okay. So people believe, and I put students here, and I should have put everybody because it's everybody, believes that the brain is static. And that leads them to think that talent and giftedness and all of that fun stuff is permanent. But that's not true. Anybody can be intelligent. Anybody can be a genius in a subject. We may not be a genius in all things, but we can be a genius in a subject that we love and we learn about, and we know everything about that. And every time you work hard, you have to stretch yourself and learn something new. Your brain forms these new connections, these new pathways, and over time you actually become smarter because your brain figures out, and we have all of these little fun pathways that we go through, and yeah, it makes you smarter. So how do we develop this mindset, right? So we develop it by learn. You learn as much as you can about things. So maybe you are wanting to research a specific topic or a new platform to work on, maybe a new company that you want to film with, maybe even new people that you want to work with. Learn as much as you can about them. You have to realize that hard work is key. If you think about those in the industry who are passive and just kind of, let everything happen, and they're not really working hard, they don't really have the success and the income as those who are working very hard. The more you put into it, the more you'll get out of it, right? And that's realizing that hard work is key. And then you have to face your setbacks head on. And so we're going to talk about some setbacks here in a minute that we can learn to face head on. So let's look at some examples. When you don't land a job, right? A fixed mindset predicts performers' failure to recover from the initial shock of not getting the job. Those with a fixed mindset might feel that they're not good enough to even be in the industry. They're not good enough to work. They're not good enough to be on a CAM model or to be on a different platform. They just don't feel it. And so they're just going to quit because they didn't land that job, right? A growth mindset predicts successful recovery. So that's when you accept the failure, you learn from your mistakes, and you keep trying. You don't stop. You make yourself better. This didn't work this way, so let me learn a different technique and try it this way. And like I said, hard work is key. When I have to work really hard, I don't feel very talented. That is a fixed mindset. Learning is not going to come naturally. I don't care what anybody says. You can have learning disabilities and you can still find ways to be very talented and very intelligent. You have to find what works for you and not be ashamed of it and say, you know, maybe if you're reading a script and you're dyslexic, well, maybe you find someone who can help you, or you find you use your tools that you've learned along your way in life, and you implement those to help you learn and really see that you are talented, right? A growth mindset is putting a lot of effort into learning and understanding that working hard is the key. The harder I work at something, the more effort I put into something, the better I will be at it. I study sex all day, every day. And sometimes it's exhausting, but I sit back and I look at my job and I'm like, wow, you know, I get to help people overcome this stuff. I get to help people overcome sexual dysfunctions or, you know, sexual trauma or just questions about sex. I get to educate. I didn't learn all of this stuff that I know by just sitting back and not studying or, you know, taking the classes and putting in the work. So what are you not putting the work into that you should be in order to really have that growth mindset? And then also flip that. Where do you have a growth mindset? Because sometimes we have a little bit of both, and that's okay too. To develop a growth mindset, I want you to focus on effort and persistence, despite a setback. Setbacks are going to happen. Choose difficult tasks. Focus on the strategies and reflect on different strategies that work and don't work. So I want you to, on your paper, write down some setbacks you've experienced in the industry, in work, in life, in love, anything. What are some of the setbacks you've experienced? Maybe you didn't get the part that you auditioned for. Maybe you didn't get the job. Maybe your numbers aren't as high as you would like them to be on your platforms. You know, maybe you have a certain income that you're trying to achieve and you just haven't achieved that yet. But what are some of those setbacks? And then beside each setback, I want you to say and reflect on, really, what could you do better? So you're writing down what setbacks you've experienced in your life, love, work, professional, everything. And what could you have done better to move on past that setback? Where can you work hard and improve? I don't know why my hand keeps doing this. It's like an Italian today, but that's what it was doing. Work hard and improve. I'm totally not Italian, obviously. I'm from Texas, which I guess you can be an Italian from Texas, but Yeah, that came out wrong. So I'm a Texan born and raised, if you couldn't tell from my accent, right? So more to add to our list. Okay. We're going to change our words. So in that last example, you wrote down your setbacks and you put what you can do differently, right? I also want you to write down some things like, what do you say to yourself when things get hard? When you're stuck and you want to quit? What kind of self-talk do you have? Are you saying to yourself, you're dumb, you can never do this, you're stupid? Why do you think that you could ever succeed in this? You're not pretty enough, you're not talented enough, you're not tall enough, you're not blonde enough, you're not brunette enough. Whatever those faulty mindsets are, what are you saying to yourself when you're stuck? That's very important. Write that down. And then also, what can we say to ourselves to change our mindset and our thought processes about a specific situation? So maybe one of the setbacks, how can you change your mindset and your processes, and what can you say to yourself to help you overcome that situation and see it in a different light? If you haven't noticed, my webinars are very interactive, and that's because I want you to get the most out of this. I want you to be challenged, and I want you to understand that just because you are where you are where you're at right now, it doesn't mean that this is where you're always going to be. And this growth mindset is so powerful, but if you're not taught how to utilize that growth mindset, then you don't know what you don't know. And so I really want you to think about this stuff and write it down. So when we end the session or the webinar, excuse me, today, you have a great plan of action, a roadmap for things that you have struggled with in the past. You have a plan of action for attacking it again and moving forward. How are you going to talk to yourself? All of that is so important. Okay. The power of yet. Up until right now, which means it can still happen. So yet means up until this point right now. I haven't done it yet, but it can still happen. And so you remember that thing that you said, I'll never be good at? I want you to rewrite that sentence. And I don't want you to add yet to the end of it. I want you to rewrite the entire sentence. If it was, I am not good at this, or I'm not good at such and such, or I'm not good at doing this yet. Write it out. Next time you're faced with a challenge, add yet to it. I'm not good at this yet. It doesn't make sense yet. I can't do this yet. Now, could I go and ride a unicycle? Absolutely not at this time in my life. But if I practiced, I could ride a unicycle. Could I pole dance? Probably not very good. But in my mind, I think I can. And so I can take classes to get better, and I can learn to be a better dancer and be a better performer, but I'm not there yet. When I was learning to skydive, I wasn't good at first. Thankfully, I didn't die. So I guess I'm better. I'm good because I didn't die. But I'm not a good flyer yet. What are things that you can put yet on the end of that can really enhance your ability to achieve? Make sure you're writing it all down. This is definitely very important. Okay. So it takes a lot of courage to do a lot of the things that you've probably put on your list. And when we choose courage, courage, excuse me, we're choosing to speak truth to power. Okay. This can be aimed at, can be anything, acts for personal or professional growth. Owning the bold initiatives. Innovating within or beyond one's current organization. So you may say, right now, I am working on this platform, I'm a CAM model, but I want to be a movie. I want to be in movies. I want to be in whatever you want to be in. You have to think bigger. How are we going to get there? What are some bold initiatives that you can take as a means of growth? So I love me some quotes, and everybody loves Maya Angelou. And so courage is the most important of all virtues, because without courage, you can't practice any other virtue consistently. Think about that. Can you practice? Have you been practicing courage consistently? Are there things that you're afraid of that maybe you haven't been courageous in? On your paper, write that. What are things that you could be more courageous in? You could show more courage. You could take bigger steps. Where can you display more courage? I guess is the best question. As a society, as a culture, we are programmed in our reptilian brains, which are those little bitty brains that we all started with millions of years ago, to avoid unnecessary risks. Because if we take risks, that can hurt the family, that can hurt the tribe. And so we don't want to take those risks, because back when we were developing in the reptilian brain days, those risks could get you killed. And so if a hunter, the men were hunter and gatherers, the women were homemakers, and the cooks and the homemakers. And when I say homemakers, you know what a homemaker is, it's everything. So the men would go out, and if they took unnecessary risks, they could die and not be able to feed their families. So we are just pre-programmed to not take those risks. When I'm going to continue with jumping out of a plane, that door opens. My brain tells me, what the hell are you doing? Don't step out there. Don't do that. But I take risks, and I do it anyway, because I know that I have my security system on my back and I'm going to be just fine. But it's not natural. So we have evolved, and I guess the conformity of what we've evolved to, it reminds us of the benefits of it. So our language reminds us, be a team player. We've always done it this way. Don't risk your career over this. Think about some of the things that you've been told to conform to, even in your industry. You can't do this. You can't do it that way. It's always worked better this way. And what are some of those things that you have really, I guess, conform to the ideology that unnecessary risks are bad? I know that you're told every day and it can be by your parents, best friends, coworkers, mentors, well, you need to be a team player. Well, don't take that risk, because what if you fail? What if you fail? You found one way, it didn't work. Thomas Edison said that he tried to make a light bulb, and I don't know the exact number, so I'm just going to make it up 1,000 times, but he learned 1,000 ways not to make that light bulb, and 1,001 there it worked. So have that mindset. You can't succeed if you're not willing to take the risk. Courage is resistant to fear, mastery of fear, not the absence of fear. Think about the areas in your life where you have been fearful, and we can replace that with courage. Why does courage even matter? Well, your courage matters for others. You can inspire others to be bold. You can inspire others to take challenges. If you have children, you can inspire them to be better than what they thought they ever could, because they see you being courageous. Your friends and family see you being courageous, and they want to take that chance. And it also matters for yourself, right? Legacy. What is your legacy? What do you want to leave this world? And what do you want to be remembered by? What do you want to be known for? That's your legacy. And the regrets. Lots of research has shown that regrets tend to be about things we didn't do, but wish we had. So this particular research study went around, and they were asking, they went around to nursing homes, and they asked all of the residents at these nursing homes. They did a survey about looking back on your life. What's one thing you regret? And 97 point something said that they regret not taking a chance. They regret not asking that person on a date. They regret not auditioning for this. They regretted not taking a chance on a business. They regretted not jumping out of a plane, right? But they wish they had. What is something that you're thinking about right now when you heard me say that you wish you could do, but you feel like you don't have the courage to do? Intent matters. Integrity matters. Courage matters. If you have all three, nothing else matters. Think about that. Intent, integrity, and courage. The three things that can get you ahead in this world. But I want you to know that there is a great book that's called Unfuck Your Brain: The Science to Get Over Anxiety, Depression, Freakouts, Triggers. It is a wonderful, wonderful book. And so definitely check that out, Unfuck Your Brain. It's one that will definitely speak to all of us. So I want to thank all of you for joining and for taking your time out of your day. You can find me at evolveyourintimacy.com. You can email me at Stephanie@evolveyourintimacy.com. And my website is evolveyourintimacy.com. And you are more than welcome at any time if you have questions, or, it doesn't matter where you're at. You can email me and we can chat, and we can talk about this if you're not comfortable talking about it in this setting. But again, thank you all for sharing a little portion of your day with me. And I hope you are leaving a little bit more enlightened and a little bit more courageous today. Thank you.